The hardest betrayal isn't when strangers turn against you. It's when your own family smiles at your face while quietly taking away everything your parents left behind. I learned that lesson on an ordinary Tuesday morning. I had just finished another 12-hour shift working overseas. For 3 years, I had been saving every paycheck, believing I was protecting the small piece of land my late father had left me. Before he passed away, he squeezed my hand and whispered, "No matter what happens, never let this land go. It's your future." I promised him I never would. That promise stayed with me every single day. Since I was away for work, my older brother Daniel and my Aunt Linda often told me not to worry. "We'll keep an eye on everything," they said. "Focus on your career." I trusted them. After all, they were family. Whenever I called home, they laughed, asked about my job, and even sent me photos of the property. Everything looked normal. At least, that's what I believed. One afternoon, while checking my email during lunch, I noticed a property tax notice addressed to someone I had never heard of. My heart skipped. At first, I assumed it was a mistake. I called the county office. The woman on the phone politely asked for my information before falling completely silent. "I'm sorry," she finally said. "According to our records, you sold the property nearly 4 months ago." I laughed nervously. "No," I replied. "There has to be some confusion. I've never signed anything." She hesitated. "The documents include your signature." The room suddenly felt smaller. "I've been working overseas," I whispered. "I couldn't have signed those papers." She apologized again before telling me copies of the documents could be emailed immediately. 5 minutes later, I opened the file. There it was. My name. My signature. Except it wasn't mine. Someone had practiced it carefully enough to fool almost anyone, but I knew every curve of my own handwriting. Someone had forged it. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold my phone. I immediately called Daniel. He answered with his usual cheerful voice. "Hey, little sis." I asked one simple question. Why was my land sold? The silence that followed told me everything. But what my family didn't know was that before making that phone call, I had already made another one. I didn't scream. I didn't threaten anyone. For the first time in my life, I stayed completely calm. That frightened them far more than anger ever could. Daniel finally cleared his throat. "It's complicated." "No," I answered quietly. "It's actually very simple." He sighed heavily. "We needed the money." "We?" "The whole family." I closed my eyes. "So, everyone knew?" Another long silence. My mother, my aunt, even my cousins, every single person I loved had agreed to sell the only thing my father left me, without asking, without calling, without giving me the chance to say no. Then came the sentence that completely shattered my heart. "You live overseas now," my aunt interrupted over speakerphone. "You weren't using the land anyway." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "It wasn't yours to sell." "We're family," she replied coldly. "Families make decisions together." "No," I whispered. "Families protect each other." They had already spent most of the money. Some paid off debts, others bought new cars. Daniel even admitted he had renovated his kitchen, all funded by something that legally belonged to me. That's when I remembered something important. Months earlier, while updating legal documents for work, an attorney advised me to keep detailed ownership records and copies of every title. I still had everything. Every deed, every payment receipt, every signature sample. Instead of arguing, I thanked my brother for being honest. He sounded relieved. He thought I had accepted everything. He was wrong. Within the hour, I contacted a federal property fraud investigator recommended by my attorney. I emailed every document I owned. The investigator carefully reviewed everything before saying something I'll never forget. This wasn't just a family disagreement. He paused. This appears to be organized document fraud. My stomach turned. The investigation moved quickly. Bank transfers, notary records, digital timestamps, security camera footage from the title office. Little by little, every lie started falling apart. The signature wasn't the only forgery. Someone had also submitted false identity documents pretending to be me. Until everything changed. The investigator called me one Friday afternoon. "We're ready." I flew home the following week. Not because I wanted revenge. I wanted the truth. Walking into the investigator's office, I saw my family sitting together for the first time in years. No one smiled. No one made excuses. Stacks of documents covered the conference table. The investigator calmly explained everything: the forged signature, the fake identity documents, the financial transfers, even phone records showing everyone discussing the sale before it happened. Every secret conversation left a trail. My brother couldn't even look at me. My mother quietly cried into a tissue. For years, I imagined this moment would make me feel victorious. Instead, I only felt sad. Not because they were finally facing consequences, but because greed had destroyed people I once admired. My aunt finally broke the silence. "We never thought it would go this far." I looked directly at her. "It went this far the moment you signed my name." The property sale was declared invalid. The remaining funds were recovered. The buyers were compensated through legal channels. Ownership of my father's land was restored to me. Several family members faced serious legal consequences for the fraudulent paperwork, while others were required to repay the money they had received. Weeks later, Daniel asked to meet me one last time. I was desperate. "I know. I never wanted to hurt you, but you still chose to." There wasn't anything left to say. I forgave him for my own peace, but forgiveness didn't erase accountability. Months later, I stood alone on my father's land. The wind moved gently through the tall grass exactly as I remembered from childhood. I smiled through quiet tears. "I kept my promise, Dad." That piece of land had never been about money. It represented trust, family, home. The people who tried to take it believed they were stealing property. They didn't realize they were losing something far more valuable: my trust. And once trust is sold, it becomes the hardest thing in the world to buy back. That day, I finally understood something. Real revenge isn't watching people fall. It's standing tall after they tried to take away everything you had and realizing they never succeeded in taking the one thing that mattered most: my integrity.